Welcome to a brand new episode of Picks with Rich Recap Show. I'm your host, Rant and Rich, and as always, I want to thank you for watching the show today. UFC 222 went down this past Saturday, March 3rd, 2018 in Las Vegas, Nevada. It was headlined by Cris Cyborg and Yana Kunitskaya. Whoa, if you didn't see that fight, I feel bad for you. What a crazy, crazy knockout. And remember, we also had the co-main event. Brian Ortega took on Frankie Edgar. Another great finish. And we're going to get into that in just a second. And we're also going to find out who is king of all picks. Did I retain the title, or is there a new king in town? If you guys playing along, we're playing along. You probably already know that, so I don't really have to tell you too much. But let's get into the card, and then we'll tally up the scores and find out who actually won. All right, so remember, first up, we had Ketlen Vieira. She came in as the favorite at a minus 140. She took on Cat Zingano. Zingano was the underdog at a plus 120. Vieira ends up winning by split decision. I actually thought it was more like unanimous decision to me, but Cat Zingano's been around for a long time, and her name's pretty big. So anyway, doesn't matter. Split decision win by Vieira. I thought Vieira was going to win by submission. She didn't do that, but at least I got the 3 points for her win. Second up, we had Stefan Struve versus Andrei Arlovski. Struve came in at a minus 225. Arlovski was the plus 185. Arlovski wins by unanimous decision. Nobody took Arlovski. We all thought Struve was going to win. Struve, I don't know what was going on with him. He has that long reach. He's very lanky, and he's not as agile as some other heavyweights, but he did have a severe reach advantage on Arlovski, and he wasn't using that jab to keep the distance. So I'm not sure what's going on with him. He has now 2 losses back-to-back in a row. So I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know how many fights are on his contract. Arlovski, on the other hand, I got to give it to him, even though I didn't pick him. I didn't have enough confidence in him. He's getting older, but his fight game is getting younger. So you got to give it up to him. And like I said on the previous show, he may make another run if he keeps it up like this at that heavyweight title eventually. So we got to look out for him. Third fight was Sean O'Malley versus Andre Sukumatai. This was a very interesting fight. O'Malley came in as the dog at a plus 115. Andre Sukumatai was a minus 135. I think a lot of people kind of sniffed this one out and got it right. O'Malley coming in as the dog was kind of a no-brainer. Not just us. I've heard other people that took him and thought it was a no-brainer. We all actually took him in different ways, of course. Mr. Willie J and Sega Genesis took O'Malley to win by decision. They got that perfect. Got the 10 points on that. I thought he was going to win by TKO, so I didn't get that prop. I only got the 5 points on that one, but Sukumotai did have his moments. He did put it on, but I think this was the right call. Unanimous decision win. O'Malley, as we all know now, fractured his foot before the fight and then really messed it up during the fight with, I believe, a head kick. So he was pretty much down and out. I mean, if he didn't have the heart that he has, he could have easily lost that fight, but he stuck in there and he ended up winning. So got to give it up to O'Malley. I'm not sure what's going to happen with him. It kind of depends on his foot, and he's going to get that checked out this week, I believe. So we'll be hearing more about that story. Co-main event was Frankie Edgar versus Brian Ortega. Edgar was the minus 185 favorite. Ortega was the plus 160. I kind of thought this, I was back and forth on this one. I kind of thought that the odds should have been a little bit closer. Regardless, I did take Edgar. Me and Mr. Willie J thought Edgar was going to win by decision, and it could have happened. You know, this is the fight game. You never know. But Frankie Edgar gets dropped severely in the first round. Ortega ends up winning by knockout in the first round. Sega Genesis was the only one that took Ortega, but he thought he was going to win by submission, so he didn't get the bonus points. But he did get the underdog points, which were 5. So, I mean, congrats to Ortega. We're going to see what's next for him. I have a good feeling that he's going to be a big name. I didn't really have confidence in this fight, but I'm going to keep my eye on him. This is 6 fights since his debut in the UFC that he's won. So, yeah, he's a beast at 145. Got to give it to him. And last but not least, we had the main event, Cris Cyborg versus Yana Kunitskaya. There were 2 jokes in this one. The first joke was Cris Cyborg coming in at a 1650. I think that was still ridiculous, even though Cyborg is phenomenal and she's a great fighter, best in the world. 1650 was a little bit too high. But anyway, she did come in at a 1650. Kunitskaya came in at a plus 1075. Kunitskaya got dominated. She was just out of her league. This whole fight was somewhat of a joke. I mean, we all got it right. I'm sure everybody got it right. We all took Cris Cyborg to win by TKO, and that's exactly what she happened. Not only did she win, she won by TKO in dominant fashion in the first round. She took her out. You can't mess with Cris Cyborg. I'm hearing that Amanda Nunes is next for Cyborg at 145. We'll see what happens. You hear rumors like this all the time. I don't think that one's official quite yet, but we're gonna soon find out. Kunitskaya at least got her name, and she made her debut, even though she got pummeled. So we'll see. We'll see how she does when she's better matched. She's more properly matched. She was just outmatched, outgamed, outgunned, out everything against Cyborg. So congrats to Cyborg on that win. So next, let's tally up the scores. So I actually, king of all picks, or I should say ex of king of all picks, came in third place. I came in last. I don't know what was going on. I'm really sorry, guys, for you guys out there that were listening to my picks, my bet. It happens. It happens. This is the fight game. It's really tough. 3 dogs, I believe, right? Yeah, 3 dogs out of 5 won. So things are all over the place sometimes in MMA, especially the UFC. I mean, these are professional fighters. Any given day, these guys can win or lose. You don't see it coming. Again, we had Arlovsky was an underdog. O'Malley was an underdog. Ortega was an underdog. So it's tough. It's tough to pick sometimes. So next up, Mr. Willie J. He beat me this time. He had 16 points total. He had 2 fighters out of 2 props. So that also gave him a 40% win-lose percentage. Yeah, Mr. Willie J is coming up. Mr. Willie J is coming up. Be on the lookout for that guy. Hasn't done that great in the past. And I'm not saying 40% is great, but to come in second place on the game, because remember, we're dealing with pluses and minuses. It's not just a win or lose type of thing when you're betting or when you're playing picks with Rich. It's more complex than that. So he, again, only got the 40%, but he did come in second place with 16 points. So give it up to Mr. Willie J. And of course, if you guys haven't already figured out, Sega Genesis got the crown back. Got to give it to him. I'm humble in defeat. He got the crown back. He is the new king of all picks again, the PWR champion and title holder. He had a total of 21 points. He had 3 fighters out of 2 props. So he had only 50% win-lose. None of us did that great, I got to say. I'll admit when we do great, and I'll say the same thing when we don't do great. And we didn't do good this time. I mean, what can I say? Regardless, congrats to Sega Genesis. He is currently the new king of all picks. And like I said, 223 is coming up, so make sure you stay tuned. I'm gonna go a little different route, and we're gonna implement some other things too. I'm thinking of doing over under, because that is another prop bet that's always available when you're betting on props. So we may throw that in, maybe not. We'll see what happens. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Remember to subscribe if you haven't already. Share, like, comment, all the above. And as always, until next time, signing out from sunny SoCal. I'm out of here. Latest.